Chef Buck here, and today we're going to bake up some pecan sandies. Here's some batches I've been experimenting with this week. I've made too many pecan sandies this week. It's not a great weight loss program, although these are going to be healthier pecan sandies than you might find elsewhere, because pecan sandies are mostly flour, butter, sugar, and of course pecans, but we're going to use safflower oil. So it's really going to be a lot better for you if you're thinking about cholesterol. But if you're thinking about flour and sugar, then maybe a misstep. First thing, we're going to crack us an egg. And some recipes for pecan sandies don't call for egg. But what's up with that? We'll whip our egg out. That's the first thing you're going to do. And we're going to do it all in this one bowl right here. And a little bit of vanilla. We're going to throw in a little dish dash bloop gloop. A bloop gloop of vanilla. A little bit of safflower oil.
Or a lot.
Or a lot, but I'm telling you, that is a lot less butter than you'll find in most pecan sandy recipes.
Well, sure, that's what makes them short.
But these are still going to be excellent cookies.
Yes.
And you can give this recipe a go and kind of measure it up against a traditional pecan sandy recipe. And see if all that extra fat makes a difference to you. But I gotta try to cut down on my triglycerides. I just wanted to say triglycerides.
I was going to say, just talk about
I don't know
animal
what a triglyceride is. Okay, what am I doing here? Okay, I got this. Now we're going to add in way too much sugar.
Yay!
Oh, look at that. That's disgusting.
What?
I don't feel good about this.
Really? I have evidence to the contrary.
I'm telling you, and that's that batch right there. I mean, this is nothing. I've made like 3 times that many cookies this week, and that's all that's left. And I gotta sample these. After I bake these today, this batch, I gotta sample it for the camera, and I don't want to.
Yes, you do. You know what? If you didn't want to, you would have frozen some of your cookies. You haven't frozen one.
No, I've had 6 cookies already today. I can't have another, but I bet I will. So we'll go ahead and get these ingredients all creamed together. Nice and smooth. Boom, boom, boom. Now I'll retire my whisk. We'll get my ultra spatula here. We'll throw in a bunch of flour. Now we'll just fold this flour in here. And as I'm folding this flour in here, I'm going to go ahead and throw my pecans in here as well. Now I've got some pecans here that I've toasted up. You know, go ahead and toast them in the oven, you know, very lightly. You got to be careful toasting them because you don't want to burn your pecans because they'll burn easily. And they cost an arm and a leg, so just be careful with that. But then once I get them out of the oven, I went ahead and chopped them up. Little chippy choppy pieces of pecan, you know, for that pecan sandy texture. But we'll toss our pecan pieces in there and just fold away. And this is a pretty dry mixture, so just take a few minutes to mix it up as best you can. But there, that's it for my spatula. Now I'll go down to a little hand work. You know, work them by hand. Kind of not super duper wet, but definitely has a cookie dough consistency. So we've got the wet kind of all suffused throughout the dry. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my baking pan over here. And look how dirty this parchment paper is. Look how filthy and disgusting and dirty that is. I've been using the same parchment paper all week. Did you know that you could just reuse the same parchment paper over and over again? Did you know that? I just found that out. I don't know if it's a good idea, but it appeals to the cheap guy in me. So I'm just going to keep using it, you know, as long as it works. But now I'm going to take some handfuls of dough. I'm going to try to make some smaller cookies. Because these cookies I've been making here, I mean, they're pretty big and dense. I mean, that's a lot.
Your cookies are like really, every one cookie is 2 cookies.
I know, and I've had 6 of those already today. So are you saying that's like a dozen cookies?
Yeah.
So I'm just grabbing little hunks of the cookie dough, kind of mashing it together, then pressing it, and then shaping it into a little wheel so that I get that classic pecan sandy look. You know, so it's got kind of a nice depth all the way to the edge there, so the edges don't cook before the center does. And it takes a little bit of time, you know, to do each cookie individually like this by hand, but you know, the work that you expend, the calories that you expend molding and shaping these cookies are about the same amount of calories that you intake with each cookie.
I think we need to fact check that one.
It's like a Nero Z, like a Nero. It's like a zero net gain. See, I try to use a math term and it won't even come out of my mouth.
I think you're just too excited to be able to eat some more cookies.
No, I am not excited about this.
You're crazy. That's blasphemy.
Well, you haven't been eating them like I've been eating. How many of those cookies are you going to eat? I'm going to eat most of those cookies.
Well,
your mom helps me out a little bit, but she's not doing her part. Of course, part of it is you guys can't keep up with me.
It's nice you don't have to guess how much they're going to spread because these cookies don't spread.
Yeah, not at all. Whatever shape you put them in the oven, that's the shape they're going to stay. Because there's really not that much oil in here. And there's no butter to spread out. So I got them all shaped out, and I got 14 cookies in this batch. So these are a little smaller because I have been making 12 cookies. These are a little bit dinkier do, but they're still pretty good size. You could make some smaller cookies. You could probably easily get 18 human-sized cookies out of here. And even though they don't look that ginormous, maybe just to look at them, but they're kind of thick.
They're ginormous. They're like paperweights.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to describe your cookies as paperweights.
That's true. They're Chef Buck size.
They're delicious paperweights. But anyway, you kind of want to make them as uniform as you can before you throw them in the oven. So we'll follow the cookie cam over here to the oven, and I'll slide it in. And I've got my oven preheated at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and we'll let them cook away for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then we'll see what comes out of the oven. And I suspect it's going to be cookies. Beep, 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 beep. Boom. Let's take a look here. Had this in the oven for 18 minutes. You know, you want to bake it about 15 or 20 minutes. There's plenty of color on the bottom there. It's still a little soft on top, but these will harden up pretty firm once they've been out of the oven for a few minutes. See if I can transfer these onto a rack.
Why don't you just use a spatula?
Between my looks and her brain, my fingers are going to be saved. Little discs of heaven. Well, I don't know. I used to think they were little discs of heaven. I mean, the first batch of these I made earlier this week, I was so excited about. And then the second batch, I was semi-excited about. And the third batch, I thought, it's more cookies. And now here, this is like the 6th or the 7th batch, and I'm like, it's cookies. Let's see, I gotta get a little one. Let me try to find a little one. Okay, this will be number 7 cookie today.
It's not even one of the newest. What are you doing?
It's the same.
It's this. Okay.
It's the same recipe. This is just from yesterday. Boom. No butter, pecan sandies. You know, that is a good idea. But you know, making a batch every day for a week, not a good idea. That's kind of healthy, you know, for pecan sandies.
Okay.
You know, because it doesn't have any of that horrible butter in it, and it has all of that healthy white flour and sugar that the doctor... Do doctors recommend that?
Okay.
Anyway, it's got pecans in it, and those fall out of trees. So that can't be bad. There's no good way to sell these cookies. Cookies! It's what's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 15, 20, 25. I got almost 30 cookies here.
You think that'll last you for 4 days?
I pray it does.
But you can't be a grown-up. You can make it happen.
I can be a grown-up. The bad thing about being a grown-up is I can make cookies and eat them anytime I want. It's like a childhood dream. But then when you grow up, the dream becomes kind of a nightmare. But if you want to try this recipe out, I'll have a link down below to take you over to myfoodchannel.com. I'll have the recipe over there, and you can check out all our recipes. Thanks for watching and subscribing, and we'll see you next weekend.